In a peaceful African village lived a young woman named Oyin. She was 25 years old, soft-spoken, hard-working, and gentle as a dove. But there was one thing that made her different from the other young women in the village: her size. Oyin was bigger than most of the girls in the village. She had full cheeks, thick arms, wide hips, and a belly that moved when she laughed. Because of this, people whispered behind her back wherever she went. At the stream, the other girls would hide their laughter when she arrived. "She's coming, make space before she drinks all the water," they would giggle. At the market, women would nudge one another and say, "No wrapper can cover that one well. What man would carry that load?" Even little children were not spared. They called her names. But worst of all, the most hurtful voices came from inside her own home. Oyin had lost her mother when she was only 7. Her father, Baba, was a kind and respected hunter. He loved Oyin deeply. But 2 years after his wife passed away, he remarried. His new wife, Yashewa, came with her own daughter, Shewa, who was just Oyin's age. From the moment Yashewa entered the house, everything changed. She treated Oyin like a servant. She would send her on long errands, make her pound yam alone, and always gave her the smallest portion of food. "Look at you," she would say, wrinkling her nose. "You are already big like a drum, yet you want to eat like a queen." Shewa wasn't any better. She mocked Oyin every chance she got. "No man will look at you," she would sneer. "When they see your shadows, they will run." Baba tried to defend her daughter, but Iyashewa always twisted the story. "She is lazy. She eats too much. She is disrespectful." Eventually, he grew tired and silent, and Oyi was left to endure it all with tears in her eyes and pain in her heart. Oyi's only escape was the quiet of the night. When everyone had gone to sleep, she would sit under the moonlight and cry. "Why did God make me like this?" she whispered one night. "Why does everyone hate me?" She tried everything to lose weight. She skipped meals, ran in circles around the compound, and drank bitter herbs, but her body remained the same. The rejection ran deep. Men in the village would praise her cooking, her gentle spirit, her kindness, but none would ask for her hand in marriage. One day, when she went to the village square to sell palm oil and vegetables, she overheard 2 young men talking. "Who will marry that one?" one said, pointing at her. "Maybe a blind man," the other replied, laughing loudly. Oyi turned away, tears burning her eyes. She ran home, locked herself in her room, and cried until her pillow was soaked. Every year, the village held a grand New Yam festival. It was the time when families dressed in their finest, dancers filled the square, and maidens hoped to catch the eyes of suitors. Shewa was the star that year. Her hair was braided with cowries, her waist beads jingled as she danced, and the village boys couldn't stop staring. Oyi wore a simple wrapper and stayed at the back of the crowd. She knew she was unwanted. That was when a tall, handsome man arrived with a group of elders. His name was Adewale, the only son of Chief Ayinde, one of the most powerful chiefs in the village. Adewale had just returned from the city, where he owned several businesses and farmland. He was wealthy, respected, and unmarried. Every young maiden straightened their back and adjusted their head tie when he passed. Shewa smiled boldly, beating her eyelashes. But something unexpected happened. As Adewale stood by the elders, he noticed someone at the edge of the gathering, a young woman, quiet and alone, her eyes cast to the ground. He leaned toward one of the elders. "Who is that?" The elder frowned. "That one? That is Oyin, the fat one. Nobody wants her." Adewale's eyes remained on her. He saw something the others did not: dignity, sadness, and quiet strength. He said nothing, but inside him something stirred. Days after the festival, Adewale began visiting the village more often. He greeted the elders, spoke with the farmers, and slowly began asking questions about different families. One afternoon, he passed by the stream and saw Oyin washing clothes. She didn't notice him at first. He watched her gently scrubbing, her expression peaceful despite the scorn she endured daily. Oye, he said softly. She looked up, startled. Her wrapper was wet, her hand soapy. She tried to cover herself, ashamed. I am sorry, she stammered, but he smiled. There's no need. I just wanted to greet you. From that day, they began exchanging greetings, then conversations. Slowly, Oyi's laughter began to return, though she kept it hidden like a precious thing. Shewa noticed the change quickly. Why are you smiling these days? She asked one morning. No reason, Oyin replied. But Shewa began watching her, and she saw Oyin talking to Adewale at the stream. She ran to her mother. Mama, that fat fool is trying to steal Adewale from me. Yashewa hissed. Never! We will not let that happen. They started a new plan to embarrass Oyin publicly and destroy her chances. And just when it seemed like things were getting better for Oyin, a twist came. The village market was buzzing one hot afternoon. Traders shouted prices, goats bleated, and children chased each other between stalls. Oyin was seated under her umbrella, quietly selling her market as usual, when a loud commotion caught her attention. Shewa stood in the middle of the market, holding something high in the air. It was one of Oyin's old underwear wrappers. This belongs to our village princess, Shewa mocked. But it's so big that it can be used as a tent for a wedding. The crowd roared with laughter. Some of the women covered their mouths. Others didn't even bother. Oyin's face turned pale. Her heart pounded as she realized everyone was laughing at her. She even thinks a man like Adewale will choose her, Yashewa added, stepping forward. Let's be serious. Who marries a woman that eats like 3 men? Oye couldn't speak. She stood up quietly, packing her goods with trembling hands, and walked home with her head bowed. The laughter followed her all the way to her compound. But what they didn't know was that Adewale had witnessed it all. He had come to the market to buy yam from a farmer, only to see the cruel display. He clenched his fist, anger boiling inside him. Later that evening, Oye sat behind her father's hut, crying silently. The sun had set and the stars blinked gently in the sky. Oye, she turned. It was Adewale. I am sorry, she said quickly, wiping her tears. Please don't be angry. I didn't ask for any of this. I am not angry with you, he replied, stepping closer. I am angry with the people who treat you this way. She looked up, surprised. You don't think I am disgusting? He knelt beside her and took her hand gently. Oye, do you know why I kept coming to the market, to the stream, to the village square? She shook her head. Because you are the most real, most sincere woman I've ever met. And your size? He smiled. It has nothing to do with your worth. Oye's heart thudded. Was this real? From that night on, their secret friendship blossomed. They met in quiet corners, talked about life, dreams, and laughter. For the first time in years, Oye felt seen, not for her body, but for her soul. It all started with whispers at the stream. Did you hear? One girl said, splashing water into her calabash. Adewale will announce his bride this weekend. By midday, the news had spread to the market. They say he's finally picking a wife, a pepper seller told her neighbor. By evening, the gossip buzzed through every compound like bees around honey. Shewa twirled in front of a mirror. I told you he will come for me. She said proudly. Mama, begin preparing. I must look perfect. Even Yashewa puffed with pride. Who else but my Shewa, beautiful and slim? Adewale has sense. Oyi sat quietly inside the kitchen hut, staring at the firewood. She hadn't seen Adewale in days. Her heart beat with fear and hope. Has he changed his mind? The village square was filled with palm leaves, colorful wrappers, and people dancing. The elders sat in a row. Drummers beat rhythms that shook the ground, and the villagers whispered, waiting. Chief Ayinde stepped forward. My son had made his choice. Today, he would present his bride to the village. Head turned as Adewale walked in, holding someone by the hand. It was Oyin. Gasp filled the air. Shewa dropped her fan. Iyashewa's jaw hung open. This is Oyin, daughter of Baba, Adewale said proudly. She's the woman I will marry. For a moment, silence ruled. Then, slowly, applause began, led by the elders. Others joined in, clapping hesitantly, then louder until the entire square roared. Oyin stood beside him, tears in her eyes. She is dressed in a beautiful cloth that fit her perfectly. She looked like a queen. The wedding was held the following week. It was the grandest the village had ever seen. People whispered in disbelief. How could the one everyone mocked become the most cherished? Oye's father cried as he gave his daughter away. Your heart is pure, he said, and that is worth more than anything. Yashewa and Shewa couldn't hide their shame. No one came to comfort them. The same mouth that once mocked Oyin now praised her strength. And Oyin, she never forgot her pain, but she no longer carried it with shame. She wore it like armor, knowing that love found her not when she begged for it, but when she accepted who she was. Oyi adjusted slowly to her new life as a wife. Living in Chief Ayinde's compound meant new responsibilities, attention, and respect. But what touched her the most wasn't the wealth or the praises. It was the way Adewale loved her openly. He listened when she spoke. He stood for her when people whispered. He called her beautiful every single day, not just with his words, but with how he looked at her. Oye's confidence began to bloom. She walked through the market now with her head high. The same women who once mocked her now offered her seats and asked for her advice. She had become someone else, not because of marriage, but because she began to believe in her own worth. Shewa couldn't sleep. Since the wedding, she had locked herself indoors, refusing to eat or talk to anyone. The shame of being rejected in front of the entire village was too heavy to carry. Her mother, Iyashewa, tried to comfort her, but nothing worked. One evening, Shewa approached Oyin's new compound and stood by the entrance, afraid to go in. Oyin was in the garden when she saw her. Shewa, she called gently. Shewa hesitated, then slowly stepped closer. I didn't come to fight, she said softly. I came to say I am sorry. Oyin was quiet for a moment. You hurt me deeply, Shewa. You and your mother made me believe I was worthless, but I forgive you. Not for your sake, but for mine. Shewa's eyes filled with tears. That day, she left with her heart heavy, but a seed of reflection had been planted in her. Time passed, and people began to speak differently about Oyin. She's so graceful now, they said. She's even more beautiful after marriage. But the truth was, Oyin had always been beautiful. It was only now that the village had learned to look past their own narrow minds. Mothers began teaching their daughters not to mock others. Fathers told their sons to marry for character, not curves. And Oyin became a name whispered in stories told around fires, the girl they once mocked, who became the woman everyone admired.